Hydrangea paniculata limelight. It's really in vogue, this plant, at the moment. It looks wonderful in full sun and fantastic in partial shade. It's a really easy to look after hydrangea because you simply cut it back in kind of late March, and the new flowers are born on the new stems of wood that are grown this year. So if the plant gets damaged in the winter or a load of snow falls on it, it doesn't matter. It's really easy to look after, but it does require some water. So ideally plant it in full sun or semi-shade where it will get some moist soil, but not boggy. It does have to be free draining. These plants are what we'd call standards or lollipops, and they're hydrangeas that have been grown on a stem. They look great in this border, but I'm going to plant some at the base where it's a different story. So we're in the middle of summer and this soil is really parched. If I want to plant a fantastic plant like this hydrangea at this time of year, I'm going to have to do some work. The Americans call it soil addition, and I think I'm going to adopt that saying. It basically means soil improvement to us English. Now I'm going to add some compost, some really well rotted compost, into the soil, but the first thing I need to do is dig it over, and for that I need a fork. Digging over the soil at this time of year is no easy task, but with a good solid fork you can get deep down into the soil and just dig that over like so. Now you can see as we get down it is quite wet under there, and that's because I've been irrigating this hedge behind. Now I've finished forking this border over, and what I'm going to add to it is some well-rotted compost. I'm using a handy compost scoop to do that, and probably about 3 or 4 scoops of compost should be enough to get some nice moisture retentive qualities to this soil. I'm going to fork that in a moment, but before I do I'm going to add some bone meal, probably around 1 handful per plant, and just sprinkle that on the top and dig it in. I'm now going to use one of my favourite new tools, this little micro shovel. It's great for raised beds or when you're working on your hands and knees. I found this micro shovel to be really useful. The handle's slightly bent forward so you get some good leverage on it. It's got a good sturdy but small shaft, and it's also got this rounded spade head. I suppose it's a shovel head really, but with this point and with this tread on the top it makes it even easier to use if you do need to stand up and get through some earth which is a little bit more difficult. Now this planting hole is seriously dry, so I'm going to water it in well just before I put that plant in. And as I showed in my other video, I've been soaking that plant for about 5 minutes because it really was quite dry. Have you ever planted a plant and realised that the planting hole is actually too small? And then you have to take the plant back out of the hole, take a bit more soil out, etc. It gets a bit boring. So what I do is take the plant pot off the plant root ball, place it in the hole, and then you can check. Now, the plant really wants to be sat at the same level it was in the pot. So basically that means the top of the pot needs to be the same level as the top of the soil. So I just need to take a bit more out of there. Once that pot's now at the right level, I'm going to water that hole, and the reason for that is because it's so dry. Now my top tip when you're planting in dry weather like this is to make a small moat around the plant. And that way, when you start to water, it doesn't all run away. And there you have it. All I need to do now is finish planting the rest of the row and I'll have a beautiful Hydrangea paniculata limelight hedge. Until next time, bye bye.